What's up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to save yourself a little bit of money and repair a fishing rod versus going to buy a new one. So this last weekend we went down to Venice. Whenever you're back here flipping in that rosewood cane and the fish are behind the cane, sometimes when they go to bite, they'll start running, wrap you up in the cane, and you will end up getting stuck in the cane, and that stuff it's extremely hard to get your bait out of. So I broke a rod tip this weekend, you can see. So I am going to be repairing this instead of going and buying a new rod. You can go buy a new rod, but there's nothing wrong with this rod here. The tips broke off of it, so we're gonna fix it. Now, depending on where you break your rod at, you can sometimes just stick the tip onto the rod without having to do anything. This one, being that it's so close to this first guide right here, I'm going to actually cut this off, sand it down, and put the tip there. So I'll show you guys what we're gonna do. We're gonna need some dikes or some pliers with cutters on them, a little bit of sandpaper. I think this is 150 grit. You're not gonna do a ton of sanding, but this will work just fine. And then a razor knife. We're gonna be using this Fuji rod repair kit because this one has that 8/64 size, which works for my rod size. So, like I said, if I broke it up a little higher, I would not even be doing this. I would just glue the rod tip on. But for me, I'm gonna have to cut this off and replace it with another guide just so it doesn't look stupid. What we're gonna do first is take our razor knife. We're gonna start trimming the finish, the clear coat off of this, and get down into the threads that wrap this guide on. And you got to be careful because you don't want to, one, cut your finger off, and two, you don't want to get into the graphite. You don't want to get into the rod itself. You just want to get into the wrap on the guide. So just trim this off a little bit at a time, and that looks good right about there. Yep. All right, so I'll let you guys see this. So we just trimmed right through here. We just trimmed through the threads, trimmed through the clear coat and the threads. So now we can actually start peeling these threads back a little bit, start unwrapping them. Just toss them aside, get them out the way, come down a little bit more. At this point, you can just pop this guide out. So set it off to the side, and then keep unraveling these threads until all you have left is the rod blank. Okay, so now we just got a little bit of clear coat left, it looks like. Pull it off. Might have to knock it off with the razor blade, is what we're gonna have to do. All right, so now we got just got the rod left. You can see a little bit of that thread, a little bit of that finish is still on there. So take your sandpaper and tear a little small piece off, a little tiny piece, and you just want to lightly go over this rod tip, real lightly. That ought to be good there. So now you kind of got to look at the spacing of your guides. So I'm thinking I need to go about right here. That's really pretty much where the guide was. So I'm gonna take these, don't be afraid, it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna snip off a little bit of that rod. So now we are going to get our rod repair kit. Just to show you what we did. We just snipped that off, and now our spacing is going to be pretty good whenever we go to put our tip on. So, get our rod repair kit. It's the Fuji standard rod repair kit. I know what size I need, but you can see they come with 3 different tip sizes. 8/64, 7/64, and 6/64. So I'm gonna need the 8/64. So I'm gonna pop it out of the pack. I'm gonna get my glue. We got a rod tip. You can just test fit it over the rod to make sure that everything fits like it's supposed to. Yep, it does. It fits perfectly. So you want a snug fit, but you still want to have just a tiny little bit for that glue to get in there. So you can see it's perfect. So it's exactly what you want. So now that that's done, what you need to do is get this off to the side, get it ready. I'm gonna lay my rod strap right here to hold that. You're gonna take your glue and you're going to melt the glue. Get it good and melted. All right, that ought to be good. And now you're gonna rub this on your rod tip. You wanna go plenty of glue because you can always take it off later, but you can't add any once it's not there. So plenty of glue. So now your rod tip has got glue on it. It's hot glue basically. So you're gonna take your rod tip. You're gonna take your rod tip guide now, and you're gonna heat up the end that you're gonna slide over the rod, and you can hold it by the actual eye so your fingers don't get super hot, but you're gonna heat up the rod tip really good, preferably not in a strong wind. Heat that rod tip really good. All right, so now you're gonna come and you're gonna stab it on. And just for insurance, you can heat this up a little bit more. Just melt that glue a little bit. And then what you need to do is look down the rod and make sure that it is in line, which you sort of see we are in line. So that is seated all the way down. And now you got a brand new rod tip on a rod, and you just saved yourself $150 instead of going and buy a new rod. You let that cool down, and once it's cool, which it isn't yet, sort of cool, you can just pick this glue and peel it right off. This is your secret tip. If you want to make sure that it is locked on there good, you can always take your glue one more time and just light a tiny little bit of it. You can just do like as lightly as you can, just brush it on there like a little weld bead all the way around. And you can rub this in to lock it in place, just as a little extra insurance. All right, so there it is. Rod tip's back on. You just saved yourself $150. So now you can go still spend you $150, but go buy you a brand new rod instead of replacing one that you threw in the trash can that still works just as good. So yeah, Fuji rod repair kit. They got them in all different sizes. Sold at Bass Pro, Cabela's, Academy. Sometimes Walmart has them. And yeah, it's $7. So $7 and you got $150 rod fixed instead of throwing it in the trash can. Rod is fixed like it was never broken. So, all right, we'll catch you on the next one, guys. Appreciate it.